Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is the One Lonely Farmer channel. Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about yesterday's video and the day before's video. And yes, the day before that's video. Looks like I got bloodshot eyes. I actually just woke up. It's like 5:15, I guess, when I woke up, but a little bit late this morning. But I didn't go to bed till late. Got myself a cup of coffee. Thank you, Teresa. She sets the alarm for this stuff. So anyways, yesterday, I got a phone call from Messicks, and I got another phone call from AutoAlign, Morris Industries AutoAlign. Okay. Now, in the videos that I made the last couple of days, I'm a little frustrated with the hookups from John Deere and the hookups from Morris Industries or AutoAlign. Doesn't mean that they're a piece of shit. Doesn't mean that the dealer's bad. Doesn't mean that the equipment's junk. Doesn't mean that I should go on a hyperactive rant, because I didn't. I mean, the worst thing about it was the hose ends, right? I mean, they were the wrong size. Okay, so, funny thing. I've gotten emails. I've gotten personal messages. I've gotten just about anything you can get from social media, and obviously on the PETA video, 272 comments. 99% of them are negative towards the dealer. Okay, so here's the story. Talked to Messicks, and it was kind of funny because he answered the phone. Hello, Wesley. How are you? I said, I'm okay. I won't use his name. How are you? He says, well, are you okay? Just like that. Are you okay? I was like, yeah. I said, I'm fine. Just dealing with a couple of things here. Other than that, I'm okay. Why? And I knew where he was kind of going with it. I thought maybe one of his employees had seen the video that I'd made and wanted to follow up as to whether I got the problem straightened out or not. Now, Messicks is a New Holland dealer, okay? They're not a John Deere dealer. And AutoAlign is technically, or Morris Industries is technically a short line company. Short line meaning a company that produces implements for the major companies like John Deere, New Holland, AGCO, and other Fendt Cloths, whatever other tractor manufacturers that are out there. They're not designed and made by the big tractor conglomerates or equipment conglomerates like John Deere and Case and all those. So, Messicks was, the fellow from Messicks was like, well, okay. He says, well, I got a phone call from AutoAlign today, and they're a little upset that maybe the video that you posted was putting a bad light on them. I'm like, how could it be putting a bad light on them? I mean, honestly, it was about John Deere's hookups. It was about John Deere's hookups. And then I went to the comments section. And, it's like, well, okay. So I go to the comments section, and it's ridiculous. I hate to say it, but it's pretty ridiculous. Some of this stuff is off the charts crazy. I am not in defense of the dealer. I am not in defense of the manufacturer. I just kind of understand these things a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go to talk about the AutoAlign company. I've been told by many people that AutoAlign bale stacker is a piece of shit. And I should have bought a Heath Super Chaser or an Arcusin or some other mill stack. I mean, and I've looked at all of the different machines, all of them. Stinger stack wagon, truck. Well, if I had a Stinger stack wagon, that thing would have sat in the fence row this year because everything was entirely too wet for a truck to go. As a matter of fact, my stack wagon, the one that I currently own now for 18 years, I bought that thing in 2000. No, I bought it January 1st, 2001, because Joseph was born in 2000, August of 2000, and I bought that at the turn of the year. So, so what would that make it? 18, maybe that's 19 years. 18 years. 18 years. I've owned the thing for 18 years. 18 full seasons have gone through that thing, or 17 full seasons has gone through that thing. So, and I was talking to my father and Joe last night about this thing, and I said, that's the most reliable, longest used piece of equipment that is on this farm. Continuously used piece of equipment that's on this farm. It is bulletproof. So when it comes to AutoAlign from Morris Industries, you can check them out on the internet. They have some videos on there, and they do make some other equipment besides that stack wagon. This company has actually been producing stuff since the 1800s. Yeah, since the 1800s. You wouldn't know it, but in the United States, maybe you wouldn't know it, but yes, they do. They make seeders, they made tillage equipment, things like that. I've never seen anything other than stack wagons here in the United States. So they're not new to the industry. They are a long-term, an old company. So anyway, as for the hoses and Messicks hooked that stack wagon to a T8. A T8, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's a New Holland tractor. It's what they have out there because they're New Holland dealerships. Now, they hooked that to it, and the New Holland had the large ends. I bought the Power Beyond from Deere Country, and I've looked at the John Deere manuals, and for the 7810 and the 7530, they're small ends. Now, maybe, just maybe, the 7530 has the option for the large ends, but I have to have the same size for all the tractors, okay? And if I can't get them for one, I have to have them for the other. Understand? So they came through with the standard 3/4 O-ring style Pioneer ends, or Parkers. They're Parkers. Somebody told me that Parker bought Pioneer, but whatever. They're Parker ends. They're Parker parts. That's what they are. So at least the hydraulic couplers are. All right. So after I talked to Messicks, of course, then Lisa from Pro Ag Design called, and I talked to her for, I don't know, half an hour or so. She's at a show in California, and she's a little concerned that I'm not having a good experience with the machine. Well, the good experience isn't with the machine, or the bad experience isn't with the machine. It's actually in the setup of the machine, because what Messicks did with the machine at their shop was they set it up to a tractor that is new and has the large hydraulic adapters. Morris Industries, or AutoAlign, they had it set up for the new tractors. Apparently, all the 8,000 series tractors, you get the big ends. Not the small ends, but the big ends. I'm running this on the 7,000 series tractors. There should be absolutely no problem to run this machine on the 7,000 series tractors. They both exceed the minimum requirements for that stack wagon. So, I mean, come on. The other thing is with the brakes. Now, I know I mentioned brakes. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned brakes to the Messicks guys out at Messicks, or whether I mentioned them to Lisa at Pro Ag Design. But whatever. It got lost in translation somewhere. I can't say I was under the assumption. I know I said that the brakes would be a great addition to I thought I was getting brakes. Okay. It's not the end of the freaking world. All right. So the stack wagon weighs 13,000 pounds. It isn't light. That little bastard's heavy, actually. 6.5 tons is quite a bit. That's how much iron is in that thing. All right, and then, of course, you're going to add 12 bales to it, which is going to be another, like I said in a previous video, about 15,000 pounds about 15,000 pounds to it. So you got you're looking at, 15 tons of hay and iron. Now, I've run equipment all my life. I pull wagon loads of hay that are over 20 tons with this 7810. No tongue weight whatsoever, and no brakes on the wagons. You see me do it daily. You've never heard me flip a tractor. You've never heard me have any problems with the wagons, other than one getting away and a pin falling out every once in a while, which is was kind of normal. Because now I've got the new fast hitch from Bergman Speed Hitch. Try that sometime. This coffee's really coming back up on me. But anyway, yeah, so the stack wagon will run on the 7530 and the 7810 just fine. I mean, just fine. They're they're over the minimum requirement. I'm changing the tires on the 7810. They're going to have the wider tires like on the 7530, and I may, depending on how this works out with the with the 7810, I may add weight if I have to. I may add weight. I don't know that I have to, but I may do it. Their concern isn't on the flat ground with those tractors, it's on the hills. And, when you're pulling a hill with these machines, you really kind of have to be pretty smart about it. And there's only one or two places that I would even cringe about using that stack wagon on hills. And, probably only one place. Now, the other stack wagon has done it just fine. That's a 6-bale stack wagon. And when we go to that farm, probably that's what we're going to use because it just would work better for those hills. The other hill farms, hills ain't nothing. The hills are nothing. So anyway, I just would like these negative replies or negative comments to stop, because I think maybe you're watching the video and your blood is, maybe you're just feeding off of my frustration. I can't say it's anger, because if I was really, really, really pissed off yesterday morning at 9 o'clock, I would have been on the phone screaming at people. Like, what the hell? The biggest problem was actually John Deere. It wasn't Messicks, and it wasn't the folks at AutoAlign. What the hell? In my eye. Oh, it's just my eyelash. I'm kind of still asleep here. It wasn't them. John Deere sent me parts that were, half. If anything was outside of the kit window, they didn't order it. So there was a couple of things that I had to actually order to make the damn thing work, So one for the 7810, one for the 7530. 7530 parts never showed up. 7810 part I sent Timothy for yesterday morning, and if you watch his YouTube channel, the operation of the stack wagon's on there. It worked wonderfully, by the way. As for the restricted hoses, there's no really any restriction. You got to understand, this machine, it has a minimum requirement of 20 gallons per minute. The 7810, I think, has 26 or 27 gallon a minute capability, or that's its output is 26 or 27 gallons a minute. So it's 7 gallons a minute over what the minimum requirement for that particular machine is. The 7530 actually has a 30 gallon a minute. Yeah, 30 gallon a minute. I'm pretty sure that one's 30. Yeah, whatever, 29 or 30 gallon a minute hydraulic flow output. So again, that tractor has more than adequate, and it's all done through this small Pioneer end, or Parker ends now, if you want to call them that. They're Pioneers. So yeah, and I talked to Lisa out there, and she's like, "Oh no, that should be fine. It's just." Today's tractors, the newest ones, that are coming out, are all those large, have the large hydraulic quick couplers on them. Okay, I don't have brand new tractors. I mean, my newest tractor is 10 years old. My newest tractor now is 10 years old. I bought it 2 years ago, but it's 10 years old. And it's kind of funny how these things time creeps up on you. And I'm not ashamed to have a 10-year-old tractor, and I know there's a lot of people out there, just go buy a new tractor. You do realize they're like a minimum of $250,000. A minimum of $250,000 to run to buy a tractor that's big enough to run what I run. And, to buy a 10-year-old tractor, you save $100,000. Easily $100,000. So, or an 8-year-old or a 6-year-old tractor. As we'll see how this straw contract goes, and you will see whether I am buying another baler or two, or whether I'm buying, another baler or two, or another stack wagon. It all depends on what is going to happen with the straw contract. And I'm thinking that this is going to be just another business. It isn't going to change anything as far as what's going on at home. It's other than I won't be there for a little while. And I will bounce back and forth depending on how the weather is and how the how the crew is doing their job. But so just take a chill pill. It's okay. I got it straightened out. Everything's working. I do have a couple more things that I'm going to be doing to the stack wagon. There's an issue that isn't really an issue, but it's a concern of mine with the hoses. Yes, the hoses, they're willy-nilly. They're just to hang there. And with my old stack wagon, that was a problem. And you'll see that in a regular video. But it was a problem that it will cut the rubber off the outsides of the hose, and they rust, and they blow, then you got issues. And I don't want to have those issues. So I'm going to make an actual bar or something that holds the hoses up out of the way. That's all. Not really that difficult. Just that's all. That's what I'm going to do. So anyways, this is a little long-winded. Now, I didn't even read some of these comments on here today, but there's just a lot of things that I don't know. People just ran with it, jumped to the conclusion, read some comments, read some negative comments, and people are funny about negative stuff. They'll jump right on the negative instead of saying, oh, well, you got to understand that John Deere is different than New Holland. New Holland is different than Massey Ferguson. Massey Ferguson is different than Challenger a little bit. Fendt, Kloss, all these tractor manufacturers have different styles of everything. I mean, you can have a New Holland and a Case tractor, which go down the same assembly line, and they have different options inside and out. And it doesn't make any sense, but it just kind of keeps the brands different, even though they're powered by the same and the transmissions are the same, and they go down the same assembly line. If you watch Torquing Points on here, you will know that the Ben, Kurt, and George all took these tractors out and tested them and the different creature comforts, even though they come down the same assembly line. Not getting brand new stuff at work because of stupid things like this is beyond maddening. Well, it's always been like this. If you've owned John Deere equipment back in the 60s and then you decided you would borrow or buy a red tractor, and then you saw these two cock-headed hydraulic outlets versus the Pioneers, which is what the two-cylinder era hydraulic style fittings were. What are you going to do? It's just been this way forever. It's been this way forever, especially in modern agriculture. And the bigger these pieces of equipment get, like air seeders and things like that, that's where this power beyond is really necessary, from my understanding. I mean, they've even attacked my character saying that I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I said that in the very first video. I have no experience with Power Beyond. I've never had anything that used Power Beyond, so why would I even have any experience in it? I mean, it's not like we're born. It's not like we're born knowing everything that there is in this world. It's a learning journey as we go through life, and I'm learning that in Europe they use the big ends, and in the United States they use the small ends. It's amazing, right? Just the same manufacturer, same company, and the style in the United States for the mid-90s or early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s was the small ones, whereas over in Ireland, England, and throughout Europe, they on their Power Beyonds were the larger couplings, where here they were the small ones. And I did look in the book, or I don't have the book for the 7530, but I did look in the parts breakdown, which John Deere has managed to screw up so incredibly bad, that there is a section. There's 4 different options for those hydraulic outlets. So when I bought them so that they would match the 7810, so that I could go between the two without any issues. I still have issues because the 7810 has a flat face coupler, whereas the one for the 7530 is a regular Pioneer Quick Connect. Smaller, isn't it smaller? It's a different style. Is it? It's smaller. It's a smaller one, but it isn't. I don't know. You're just going to have to look at it and see it, because I've got to change some things around. But anyway, that's still going to be one of these things that I have to go deal with when I get the 78 or the 7530 to hook up to the stack wagon. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Please leave positive comments. It's not Messicks' fault. It's not Morris's fault. It's not my fault. It's not Deere's fault. it's the whole equipment industry's fault. You know, it's the entire equipment industry's fault. They can't get standardization anything. Nothing is standardized, which makes it interesting to say the least. I mean, it's kind of like the United States. We're a free country, whereas the rest of the world is something different. It's neat to go visit other places in the world, but it's never feels as good to come home because we do live in the greatest country in the world. And I'm sure when you guys rent or borrow or buy a different brand tractor from what you're currently using or like to use, you go back to the original equipment that you always used, and it's like going home because you're familiar with it. It's just like me with Deere. I mean, I get thousands of people that say, oh my God, you need to change brands. John Deere, junk Deere, you're buying paint, blah, blah, blah. I'm very familiar with John Deere tractors. I know them inside and out, trust me. And it's just comfortable. When I borrowed a case tractor years ago, I couldn't wait to get back in the John Deere. And the John Deere was 10 years older, or 15 years older. It was an older tractors that we were using versus that case. I was more than happy to. It was like no better feeling going home. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more.